States, the Honorable Eric Holder, Secretary of Homeland Security, Janet Napolitano, House Majority Leader, Steny Hoyer, Tommy Griffiths from the Boston Police Department, and Craig Floyd, the Chairman of the National Law Enforcement Memorial Fund.
Now, before we do the ceremonial groundbreaking for the National Law Enforcement Museum, I just wanted to offer a few brief comments. First, our apologies for the weather and the improvised ceremony that we're about to have. I think it'll be all it was expected to be, only it'll be inside, and I apologize for that. What I'd like to do is first introduce our distinguished guests that are with us here for the ceremonial groundbreaking. We have the House Majority Leader, Steny Hoyer. We have no better friend in Congress than Steny Hoyer, and I just want all of our law enforcement friends to know that. Secretary of Homeland Security, Janet Napolitano. She will be our keynote speaker later this evening at our celebratory gala. A great friend and supporter of law enforcement and one of our great law enforcement leaders. Of course, the Attorney General of the United States, Eric Holder, who's been with us many times before, and returns once again to this site. That means so much to him personally. He will be delivering the keynote address here today. And finally, Tommy Griffiths, a Boston police officer. Great credit to the law enforcement community, an inspiring story that he and his family have woven for this nation of ours. He will be speaking later tonight at our celebratory gala and tell us his story. This museum that we're about to break ground on has been 10 years in the works. Congress passed a law in 2000 authorizing us to build the first ever National Law Enforcement Museum, and they felt, as we did, that it should be built right here across the street from the National Law Enforcement Officers Memorial. So today gives me great privilege and honor to ask our special guest to begin the construction of the National Law Enforcement Museum.
This is Dennis Sobin speaking to you from the groundbreaking exercise ceremony for the National Law Enforcement Museum.
What I would like to do is ask our guests if you would please move as safely and swiftly as possible to the Court of Military Appeals for the Armed Forces directly across the street. They have a beautiful ceremonial courtroom that they've been kind enough to offer us to move the ceremony inside for safety reasons. Thank you all very much for being here, and please join us across the street for additional remarks and ceremony.
The Safe Streets Arts Foundation, which I represent, was invited to this ceremony and inside because of our ties with the law enforcement community. Law enforcement community increasingly recognizes that helping people in prison leads to better citizens. So we are very much tied into the National Museum of Crime and Punishment, where I sit on the board and where a number of pieces of our prison art are located. And also we expect the same treatment here, and so far we've been treated very well by the group that's developing this museum, again, the National Law Enforcement Museum. And we'll be joining them now for their formal reception and looking forward to the opening of the museum sometime in the future.